Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wild Moments brought to you by explore.org. Hi, Kelly.
Hello, Trish. How on earth are you?
I am very well, thank you very much. I am getting quite excited. I am going to visit some seahorses in Sydney on Monday.
Wow, that's super cool. Are you like swimming ocean seahorses or captive
Um,
seahorses, or tell me everything?
Seahorses in Sydney Harbour. There's an endangered species that lives in Sydney Harbour that I'm going to visit
Wow.
and help a little bit with their conservation. Going to help them breed, make more seahorses.
I hardly know any. I've seen a couple of seahorses in aquariums, but I don't really know anything about them. So I'm looking forward to hearing all your seahorse stories in the not too distant future.
Definitely, once I come back. So obviously, I won't see you all until I come back on the 12th of Feb, and then I'll tell you all about the seahorses and how wonderful they are. And they're quite an interesting animal because everyone knows what a seahorse looks like, but almost don't really think about them.
No, I can't. I haven't thought about seahorses for a while until you said that, but I probably will think about them more. I know they've got some really cool things going on with them, how they carry their babies and the way they like grip things in the water. But other than that, my seahorse knowledge is pretty minimal. So I'm looking forward to learning.
Well, I'll tell you all about it when I return. So I'm a little busy trying to finalize things and um, doing a dive refresher tomorrow because I haven't scuba dived in a while. So a little bit busy, but feeling good. How about you, Kitty?
All is well. Not great amounts to report. I haven't been getting as much bush time as I would like, sadly. But yeah, all is well. I'm looking at the garden. I've started having some little visitors to the bird bath. I've had some blue wax bills and lots of baubles, and we've had some cool stuff in the garden, so that's quite exciting.
Oh, very nice. I think when we look at the different cameras, and if this is the first time that you're joining us for Wild Moments, it's where we can take some of the best clips that we've seen on the cameras over the past week or so. Sometimes we have a theme, and we Kelly and I, or whichever other rangers are with you, we discuss that animal behavior. But we sometimes we think that we have to be out in the bush to experience the proper wild and to be able to make
Mm.
those types of nice observations. But sometimes they can happen in your own backyard, especially if you have a nice bird bath.
Absolutely, and I've got it's supposed to be a security camera, but it's not. It's mounted on a little thing next to my bird bath, and I get really excited because it motion detects. And I've seen a large spotted genet, and I've seen a porcupine, and there's a family of dwarf mongoose that visits, and I get deeply excited. It's not this isn't put on for doing this show. Like I do it in my own garden, and I sit in bed going outside. So it's real.
Is and even in urban areas, if you just can take the time and or
Mm.
make the space to allow yourself to just observe what's going on around you, you'll find so much happening. And in the meantime, you always have our cameras to show you the more hairy scaries, because I'm sure lions in the backyard is not something we commonly see across the world.
Mm.
And also remember that we are live and interactive, so you can send through questions and comments, which is the beauty of shows like this. Send them through. And if you're new to the Africam community, please go ahead and let us know so we can give you a great big old shot and make you feel all special and maybe a little bit embarrassed, whatever your flavor is. Already, Great White Shark has asked, Trish, can we do a show on crocodiles? You look for them all the time, and thank you from New York. Great White Shark, I will send that through to the head honchos, i.e., Kirst, who's sitting there listening to us and operating all the stuff. But I think that will be really cool because crocodiles are a really awesome species. Sometimes they don't get the recognition that they deserve because they really are apex predators. So, great white shark,
They're
we will.
perfect. They're completely perfect.
Exactly. So we will see what we can do. but we have that now in our minds, thanks to you. Amber Co, you say waving hello to all and your coffee is ready. You're looking forward to the show. And also thank you to everyone behind the scenes, as well as me and Kelly. Thank you very much for joining us and always sending your gratitude to us. We really do appreciate it. Casper's Third Ghost says, good Thursday, Kelly and Trish, all from a warmer Milwaukee. I'm so glad it's warmer. On Tuesday, you said it was really, really cold. It's a whopping 20 degrees jump, 20 degrees Fahrenheit, that is. And you hope that Africam Explore will bring the warmth. But you've got hot coffee and hot water bottles ready, so all good. How's the weather been on your side, Kelly?
Actually, quite pleasant. It's been hovering between, we had a couple of days of maybe 25, but it's hovering between 28 and 33. Nice clear days with a few fluffy clouds. The dramatic rains have eased off a little bit, and the 45-degree temperatures have also eased off a little bit. So yeah, it's actually delightful.
Nice. The rains have also eased up here, so we're getting nice and clear, hot days. So it feels like summer finally.
Mm.
Even though when it's raining, it's very humid and it still feels summery, but it feels more Southeast Asia summery as opposed to, Southern African summery. Jean Gale, you say good morning to all. Still dark and just below freezing near Seattle. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm glad to hear that you're keeping warm with your hot coffee chocolate mix and leftover chili cornbread. Jean Gale, I must say, one of the things that is a simple yet, I mean, if you've never tried it, you probably think it's a bad combination, but a very simple pleasure is to have something that's got a little bit of chili in it with a hot drink. Oh, it feels so good.
That's something I will bear in mind, Trish. It's not something I do frequently, but I will definitely give it a try on your recommendation.
Yes, yes. I highly recommend it. It just feels amazing. April Owl, you say, good morning, everyone, from a frigid but sunny Connecticut with your cherry tea. Happy to be here for the show. I see no cherry iced tea this time, just plain old cherry tea. Very good, April Owl. Good to see that you're warmed up. Dear NC, you say good morning from Seattle, 29 degrees Fahrenheit here, but you've got your hot coffee, and thanks everyone for being here. Our pleasure. Oh, Karu, you say you love seahorses. Well, I can't wait to tell you all about the seahorses when I get back. And then Zygote, you also say seahorses are amazing creatures and the colors, and the males carry the eggs and push out the baby seahorses. Yeah, I think that's one of the most unusual traits about seahorses is that the males carry the pregnancy. In fact, that whole group of animals, Cygnethidae, which includes pipefish as well, they have that kind of adaptation, which is really, I mean, I went on a deep dive, no pun intended, for this particular shoot, and I was thinking about why would that be? What benefit does males carrying pregnancy have? And then if you think in very basic biology and you think about how small a sperm cell is, right? And how large an egg cell is. So you would imagine, and it is true, that an egg cell takes a longer time to develop and more energy investment. So, if it is the male that's carrying the pregnancy, then the female can use that time to produce the next batch of eggs. So it kind of
That would
saves.
make sense. I've got
It's
lots of research to do on seahorses before we do this again, Trish, I think, because my brain's going, but in nature, there's normally a why. There's what's the
yes.
benefit? Nature doesn't, very occasionally, but full on adaptations like that, nature's clever. There's normally a reason. So it's a really interesting thing to think about.
Absolutely. And if you think about it, I mean, by the time that the male incubates and releases the little fry, the female eggs have already matured and she's ready to reproduce again. So he can, as soon as he's given birth, can go back mate within a couple of days and they can produce the next clutch. So it's very
That
efficient.
does make sense. It's very
Yeah,
efficient.
absolutely. And Zygote, you also say namaste to us. Namaste to you too, Zygote. Jan Power says, hi, everyone. Hi, Trishana and Kelly with exclamation marks. I love an exclamation mark. You say you've got some warm chai tea latte on hand. As we actually had snow in the panhandle of Florida. Wow, and most of it's gone now and warming soon. Well, we hope that you do get warmed up very, very soon. And of course, Kelly, it's Bob from Kalamazoo that wishes us a good day. Hi, Bob. I hope
Hi,
that you're also
Bob.
Bob. I hope that you're also keeping warm in Michigan. And Andy, you say good afternoon, everyone. So, good afternoon to you too, Andy. Kelly, you mentioned that you saw a porcupine on your
Did I was
security cameras.
deeply excited. Security stroke wildlife cameras that's facing at a bird bath in case there's burglars. And they walk straight past the bird bath, then I'll definitely catch them. But yes, it was actually two. I saw I saw one visit a couple of times, and I wasn't sure if it was maybe a male and a female, or maybe a female and a youngster. I'm not great with porcupines. I've never had decent in-person porcupine sightings, so I couldn't tell, to be honest. So maybe it was a baby, but who knows?
And what would be the smallest porcupine you've ever seen?
Oh, not small.
Not small? Well, let me prepare to blow your mind and all of you. Let's head over to Tembe and have a look at our first clip.
Oh my goodness!
How tiny!
I want to see one of those. Oh, that is the cutest thing. Oh my goodness. I've never seen even pictures of a porcupine that small.
I almost
Oh,
couldn't have
wow.
imagined that they were that small.
I didn't. I, it's the same as, there's lots of animals we do see often in the bush, and we read about them and we get a good understanding of them, but the ones we don't see, I remember the first time well, three times I've seen pangolin with guests, and I just went, there's a pangolin, and I didn't know that much about them. I've improved since, but I'm the same with porcupines. You don't often get to observe them. I can't tell you off the top of my head how long a porcupine's gestation is. um do you know, Trish?
I do know. I had the benefit of having to write about a whole lot of animals, and it kind of stuck in my head. But a porcupine's gestation period is about 3.5 months, somewhere
Oh, that's
around
not
there.
that long.
I do stand to be corrected, but I'm sure it's about 3.5 months. But you're so right, Kelly, in that the animals that we don't see very often, our knowledge of it remains so basic because we
Mm.
just don't have the experience that pulls us in to the further reading to understand more about their behaviors because we just don't see them.
Or the repetition, for me, I don't know about you, but for me, unless I study and I practice things, I find it difficult to retain them. So I have to work hard to retain the information I've got. But I've never had a porcupine sighting with guests ever.
Actually, I've never had a porcupine sighting with guests either. I've always had it returning to camp on my own or with team
Mm.
members.
And then what we tend to do is we go, oh my God, it's a porcupine. And then we just go, that's so cool. Well, I do. And you watch them and they go, oh my God, that's awesome. And then you don't research how, gestations or weights or how long it takes to grow their spines or anything like that. But that little one is so cute. I mean, could you guess at how old that porcupine is, Trish?
No ways.
No way. No, me neither. And do
I
they
can.
do they normally have two or three, or I would have thought there'd be like a two for standard. Oh, I love it when it does that.
I think that they can
Um,
have more than two. I think they might even be able to have up to about four. But that
okay.
little one almost looks like a little hedgehog. It is so cute.
Mm.
But I do know that it takes them about two to about 2 to 4 weeks for those spines to get hardened because when they're born, it's quite soft. Makes sense because the
Yep.
mother needs to give to them.
Yes.
They're mammals.
Absolutely.
Yep. So once those spines are hardened, then they tend to move around with their mum.
Okay.
So I would say at least this one must be about a month old.
Mm.
But by far the smallest thing I've ever seen. And I have seen porcupines that are smaller compared to the companion, whether that companion was their mate or their
Mm.
parent, I don't. But I have seen smaller ones, but not even close to the size of that little one.
I've never seen a baby porcupine. What are baby porcupines called? No,
You ready?
tell
They're
me.
called porcupets.
Oh, I did know that actually. I did know that because I've enjoyed it very much before. I remember now.
Yeah, it's also quite funny how we forget that we know things.
Oh, that's amazing though. What a cool clip. What a lovely thing to see.
Absolutely. It's and like porcupines, if you're not sure or you want a little bit of basic info about porcupines, porcupines are rodents. The gestation period is around 3.5 months. I'm pretty sure about that.
Yep.
They tend to live in burrows. Sometimes they would use the burrows of other animals. They're mostly herbivorous, so they'll go after vegetation and other vegetable matter, but occasionally they'll even bring carrion. They might chew on bones as well, like other
Yep.
herbivores do. Um, they can be pretty mighty. They can weigh about 30 kgs on the very top of the spectrum. They're the largest rodent we find in Africa, and in Africa we get two types of porcupines. We get the Cape porcupine, and then we get the crested porcupine that is further north and even into Sicily, if I remember correctly. Yep.
Wow. I tell you something I learned about porcupines a while ago actually. Someone actually corrected me, which I'm 100% happy with. The quills of African porcupines. Sorry, I've got flies. And the quills of I actually just flying in front of me. And that was a
Can
complete
we?
fluke. The quills of African porcupines, this is from my garden, they're not barbed. They do not get stuck in skin. That's American porcupines. Someone corrected me, and you can actually, that was a complete fluke. I just found that. But look, that is the sticky outy end. It's not quite in focus. And that is the end that lives in the porcupine. And there is no barb on either end of that. But I just found that they were on the table. What are the chances?
That it's almost as if you're a professional, like you've done this before.
Almost, almost. Hey, Trish.
I do remember hearing that porcupine quills or learning that porcupine quills that we get are not barbed, but I didn't know that the American ones were barbed, and that's where the whole myth came from.
Apparently
Nice,
so.
thanks.
Yeah, there's a different species in America.
Nice. Zygote says it looks like a hedgehog. It really does look like a little hedgehog. And April Owl, you say baby porcupine's tail still doesn't have any quills. I know it still all needs to grow. That little porcupine's probably still drinking from mum, to be honest.
For sure. Oh, I
Don't.
mean, just while we're there,
I'm
porcupines
sorry.
don't shoot quills either, do they, Trish? They can't sort of
No.
go and like shoot all their quills out. That's another myth that often perpetuates about porcupines.
Yes. In fact, I had to recently scold my dad in the most loving way possible. Because so my parents live in Melbourne in Australia, and they recently had an echidna wander into their garden, which is just so cute. And so some of the neighborhood kids and things were around and were looking in the garden, looking at this echidna. And my dad tells the one kid, "Be careful, it can shoot its spines."
Let's pull that whole sentence apart. Spines, shooting.
And then I said, "They can't shoot their spines." And then he said, "Oh, are you sure?" It's almost like a part of him knew, but he also knew that his daughter works in wildlife, and so he's also feeling wildlife macho.
Yeah, that's
But
it.
it was great. Laura MC, you say good morning. Do we know why porcupines collect bones? Um, I don't know them to collect bones for any reason except that they chew bones to make sure that they get sufficient calcium in their diet, and potentially other minerals that may be found in bones at a much less significant amount. But I don't think they collect them.
I've
But I
never
can
heard
understand.
collecting.
Yeah, but I can understand how that people might think that, just because if you look at at a porcupine's den, you might see bones outside and bits of bones, many different types of bones. And so it may look and it may appear to be that they're collecting them, but actually it's just bringing one back to the burrow, chewing on it, and then they're not going to leave it back where they found it. So it just kind of sits there. So no
Mm.
specific reason for collecting, I think.
They utilize them and then leave them where they finished with them.
Exactly. So we've chatted a lot, and we have three other clips to get to. So how about we
We
head
have.
over to let's go over to Kenya and have a look at what's been happening at Oldonyo with one of our favorite lionesses.
Look at that gorgeous light. Hmm.
Oh, so nice. We've been waiting to see these beautiful cubs. So there's two lionesses here. One is Koko Okeli, which is the lioness that we know really well. In Oluju and Okirikoi's time, he was a lioness that we saw a lot. But
Oh, wow.
Okirikoi,
Look at that shot from the camera. Isn't that amazing? Everyone all lined up perfectly in front of the camera. It's amazing, these cameras.
and it is amazing how we get these shots. Please excuse the dogs, everyone, if you can hear them barking. So we have two lionesses here. One is Kuku Kelly, and that's her three cubs. And the other lioness is her daughter. And then this male lion, because remember, Okirikoi has died. So this male lion is Lomana, and he's the male that he's the male that kind of took over this area and filled
He's a good-looking
that.
boy.
He is. He's also quite affectionate, I must say.
Is he also a bit of a cuddler? Even better.
He does seem to be a bit of a. Oh yes, he's definitely a cuddler.
Yeah, there we go. He's
Yep.
definitely a bit of a cuddler.
And the other
Perfect
male
timing.
who.
Wow, there's a lot going on in this clip. There's drinking of babies and making of babies and all sorts of things happening in this clip. There was a younger male
There's,
watching and
there's babies playing. Wow, there is a lot to unpack here. That other younger male is Lomana's son.
dear. All this posturing and body language. It's so interesting to watch. Now, who's this female that's facing us now? Is that the younger female or the older female?
Ooh, I'm not sure. I think
I think it.
that's Kuku Kelly, because those are Kuku Kelly's cubs, and she definitely looks like she's this one that's closest to
No.
us is the one that's lactating.
See, I wonder what was happening there. So that big boy was mating with her daughter in that clip.
Um, yeah, that's what it looks
Huh.
like. But I think we'd have to watch it again to really to really, because there was a lot going on there. Kirst has also told us that Coco Kelly has a scar on her nose, which is quite hard to see. But she also says yes, he was mating with Coco Kelly's daughter in that clip,
Okay.
which it's also quite an interesting dynamic. We have two mature lions. One is recently mature. You can see that he's younger
Mm.
because of his mane, but it's a father and son coalition. And then we have Coco Kelly, her adult daughter, and her most recent cubs in this small little
Yeah.
pride. So it's quite an interesting dynamic that's going on there.
There's
And
there's
they all
quite
look,
there's quite a lot going on.
but they all look really, really healthy, right?
They do. They look amazing.
They do. So it's really nice to be able to see the cubs and also see the mating that was going on, potentially some more cubs in about 3 months.
Yeah.
So that's always exciting and always a good reason to keep watching the cams. Oh, Bridget's on board. Hi, Bridget McKinney. You say hi to everyone and hi to us. Hi to you and us. And we have about 4 minutes left. I'm sure you joined a little bit earlier, Bridget. We were just in the middle of the clip and I didn't get to say hello, but we need to move on. So, how about we head over to Safari Hook and have a look at one of my favorite little creatures? They're not that little, though. Oh, hey, brown hyena. I love hyenas of all kinds.
These are the most curious animals. So I've been fortunate to spend quite a lot of time with them in Madikwe. But
Oh,
it's not looking. Oh
God.
wow! Is that blood spit?
It's so hard to know with the in camera because all fluids look dark like that. But
It
I'm not.
looks like that looks like a discomfort licking, doesn't it?
Yeah, and also when I first saw this hyena, I thought it was wearing a collar because there's a bit of a protrusion
Oh no,
in the neck.
that looks so. That looks like an owl uncomfortable rub without wanting to anthropomorphize, but
Yeah, and look
that
at
looks discomfort.
the back legs don't look too comfortable either. Oh my goodness, look at the face. Looks like there's scarring by
Mm,
the eye and by the nose. Oh, there we go. Back
this is
right leg limping.
oh shame.
Oh,
This
it
is
looks like that it's broken. It looks like the kind of metatarsals maybe on the back right leg. Looks like they're broken. It shouldn't be positioned flat like that.
this is not a happy hyena, I don't think.
No, actually, maybe I'm mistaken. It seems to be walking on it. Oof, very difficultly though.
Oh
Oh,
no.
that's
Is it
definitely a sign.
I wonder if this one of the most uh, male lions fighting, that was pretty intense. But some of the noisiest fighting I've ever heard was between two brown hyenas in Madikwe. I've never heard anything like it. We where we stayed. Oh no, we heard it in the lodge, and we actually drove out. Some of the rangers drove out to go. We were like, "What on earth is that sound?" And these two brown hyenas were absolutely ripping each other apart. So I don't know how well you know this hyena or this area, Trish, but maybe that's what's happened here. Maybe it's been a interaction with a competitor or something like that with this brown hyena.
Yeah, I actually don't know this brown hyena at Safari Hook very well, but
Mm,
it definitely looks like it came off pretty badly after an
mm.
interaction with a competitor. Or, yeah, must be an interaction with a competitor. Can you tell us a little bit about what you saw during that fight, Kelly?
It was it was really loud. It was super the thing I remember, and it was face to face, biting side sort of around the face and the neck. So that's what made me think of a competitor. Obviously, if it was a predator or if it had bumped into a lion, I can't imagine it would have tried to take it on face to face. It would have been more back end. It would have been trying to get away, I would have thought. But it was very mouthy, it was shouldery, but it was the sound that surprised me because you don't. They're normally fairly innocuous
Yeah.
animals, they sort of skulk around quietly and all the rest of it. But the noises that were coming out of these two brown hyenas when they were fighting, and it was mouse face fighting. It was insane, the sounds that were coming out of them.
Wow. I mean, I think you're very lucky to have spent time with brown hyenas, enough time to be able to watch them and make those observations that we don't get to make when about porcupines.
Yeah.
I'm the first time I saw a brown hyena was at Swallow, and the second time, the time when I actually got to spend, more than a fleeting glance
Mm.
with them was at Madikwe as well.
Yeah.
So I think you're really lucky to have spent time with brown hyenas. Now we just need to get you to spend some time with some striped hyenas. That's what I want.
When are we going?
We'll have to watch the old Donyo cam for now until we can make a plan, Kelly.
We'll make a plan. We'll make a plan and go.
We'll definitely make a plan. That's the only one I haven't seen of the Hyena Day family, and the one I really, really want to see.
Mm.
Anyway, our time is, I think we can squeeze in the last clip just so that we can have a little bit of upliftment before we have to say goodbye. So how about we head over to Sylvan in the Sabi Sand, to Roy's Dam, and see what a proper elephant cuddle puddle looks like.
They are. Also go down. They're flat.
Is there space for me? Come on.
Kerstin, do we know when this was filmed? I feel like this would have been on a hot day, and they were just getting some mud, and they were just getting some respite from a brutally hot day. And that 2 nights ago, okay, it wasn't in that brutal heat wave. I feel like um this is the end of a really hot day, and they've just got a little bit of mud on them, and they're like, oh, sweet relief.
Sweet relief. But you know how good it is when it's been a really, really hot day and it's still hot at like 9 p.m. and then finally around midnight it starts to cool down and you feel you can finally
Yes.
see. Oh, and
Yeah.
look, my eyes are closed.
They are proper out. You don't see that very often. You don't see that. So, I've seen it a few times, but they're all like, they all lay down and went to sleep. That's brilliant to see that.
And even when I do see it, it's not everyone. There's always one or two that are still
Mm.
busy and completely alert. And that's the safety of a herd. But for them to be absolutely pooped flat in that nice cool mud, it must have just been the best thing in the world. Doesn't even matter if there was something else around, they were going to sleep.
Nap time, big time.
Time. Anyway, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for your questions and your comments. We have reached the end of Wild Moments. I hope that you enjoyed the show. And thank you, Kelly, so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you.
It's always a pleasure to be here, Trish. Always a pleasure.
I will see you all after the 12th of Feb when I return, and I'll tell you all about wonderful seahorses. But for now,
Everything.
Everything. But for now, it's time to say goodbye. So cheers, everyone. See you next time.
See you next time.